Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining our webinar today. This will be the introduction to the IEACLC, or the iTrust East African Community Large Cap ETF, which is the first regional ETF in East Africa. Now, to kick off the session, would like to welcome our CEO, Mr. Faiz Arab, to walk us through what exactly, or rather to give an introduction to our new clients or new subscribers, let you guys know what exactly or who exactly iTrust is, and then we'll get into the technicalities of the ETF. Welcome, Faiz.
Thank you, Winnie. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. New investors, existing clients of iTrust, again, welcome to our webinar. We will be discussing, obviously, the main agenda item for today is the ETF that we have recently launched. But before I get into the ETF or my team, quickly, I want to introduce myself. My name is Faiz Arab. I am the CEO at iTrust, for those who don't know me. And let me just dive in and give you a bit of a highlight on what iTrust is, who we are, what do we do, and we will obviously take questions around iTrust and around the ETF. So if you can see my slide, I believe they can. iTrust is firstly regulated by three different entities. We are regulated by Capital Markets, Bank of Tanzania, and we are a listed licensed member at the Islam Stock Exchange. So we do fund management, we do brokerage service, we do advisory service, and we do also lending. Now, just to break down all these service lines, in our fund management space, we have 6 different funds that we manage, from which namely they are iCash, iIncome, iSave, iGrowth, Iman Fund, which is the Islamic fund, and iDollar, which is a dollar fund. So collectively, we have a total asset under management of 197 billion as year to date. And in the brokerage space now, in the brokerage space, meaning that we broker for the Islam Stock Exchange. Along with that, we do also have a regional desk where we look into NSC, which is the Kenyan markets as well. So in the brokerage space, we have done a turnover of 277 billion year to date. On the advisory space, obviously, I will get in a bit into details on the next slide on how the advisory transactions have happened and what we have done in the advisory space, in the transaction advisory space. We have raised close to 637 billion Tanzanian shillings for different kind of companies and financial or different kind of sectors of the business. And we have done 18 different transactions in the advisory space. On the lending side, we have a lending book, which is 75 billion plus lending book. And in the lending book, we also have a product which is a sukuk that we raise for iTrust and Iman, which is our Islamic window, which is of 85 plus billion Tanzanian shillings over the span of 4 to 4.5 years. On the milestones of iTrust, we have done, if you see the first, your far left, which is when the company was formed and how it started in 2013. Initially, the company was known as Iman Finance. We transitioned and rebranded to iTrust in 2023. In 2023, when we rebranded to iTrust, we got the license from Capital Markets, which I discussed previously on the brokerage, fund management, and advisory. So our first ever advisory assignment was the AfriPrice rights issue, which was of 10 plus billion shillings, which was fully subscribed. Right after that, we did the DCB bank's rights issue also, which was 10 plus billion, which was also oversubscribed, and we had closed this assignment. Along with that, we had done a core transaction advisory for Samia Infrastructure Bond, which we had raised 323 billion Tanzanian shillings. Currently, I think in the last quarter, we did 3 different transactions. One was obviously the Stawi bond from TCB Bank. We had done the Sukuk of CRDB Al Baraka on the both T-shilling and dollar transaction. And the last rights issue we did was for Simba Cement, that is Tanga Cement, of close to 204 billion Tanzanian shillings, which was fully subscribed. We also, in this year, we launched the Dollar Fund, which is the first ever dollar currency fund in the market. And just going into our iFunds, we call all our funds as iFund collectively. So these were the 6 funds that I was previously mentioning: iCash, iSave, iGrowth, Iman Fund, iDollar, and iIncome. Now, all these 3 funds collectively have an AUM, as I said, of 198 billion year to date. This is a 300% growth in the asset under management collectively for iFunds. Now, just to give you a bit of a breakdown on how these funds have performed, obviously one of our best funds have, in terms of performance, has been iGrowth. That is the 4th one from the top. We have done 37.9% returns since inception, right? It has an AUM of 91.7 billion Tanzanian shillings, right? Right after that, obviously, we have the iCash fund. iCash is, again, a money market fund, which is an there's a 0 entry and exit load. It is a great for short-term parking of funds, and it has done 11.1%. Also, the Islamic Sharia compliant fund, which is done 35.4%, which is the 5th from the top. It has an AUM of 15.7 billion Tanzanian shillings. And obviously, lastly, the most famous iDollar has an asset under management of $12.2 million. And its return since inception is 1.4% gain on the fund. Again, now obviously we are introducing the ETF, which is obviously a first ever of its kind in East Africa. And obviously it's a mouthful. You call it IEACLC ETF, which is iTrust EAC's Large Cap ETF fund. So again, I will hand over to Azan to take us into obviously the technicalities of how this ETF works. That's number 1. Number 2, how you as investors can invest and get maximum value in terms of all the blue chip stocks. We have 14 stocks that are in this ETF, right? We will obviously talk much more about it. And we will then take questions on the ETF. Thank you.
Thank you, Faiz. Let's start with what exactly an ETF is. So essentially, ETF, as you can tell with the name, the essential part is exchange traded fund. A fund means it is a collective investment scheme that pools money from investors and invests it on their behalf. The first bit of an ETF, exchange traded. Exchange traded means the units of the fund are traded in the Dar es Salaam Stock Exchange. Essentially, when investors pool their money together and they're invested in a basket of securities, which in this case is going to be large cap East African community stocks. Fun fact, there are over 15,000 ETFs listed globally as of June 2025. And this has been a tremendous growth in terms of when it began, which was fairly recently, 2000. So from 2000s to now, there have been 15,000 ETFs. And I can proudly say iTrust is one of the ETFs that is going to be adding on to that number. Getting on to what exactly the East African Community Large Cap ETF is going to be holding. So as Faye mentioned, we have a total of 14 stocks. Beginning with Tanzania, we have the likes of NMB, CRDB. We also have the likes of TCC, TPCC, and Tanga Cement. In Kenya, we have the likes of Safaricom, which happens to be one of the largest cap stock in East African community exchanges. As you can see, the market cap weight of it is about 46.3%, 0.03% in these basket of stocks. We also have the likes of KCB, Jubilee Holdings, and Equity Bank, which are also on the Kenyan Stock Exchange. We have the likes of MTN Uganda and Stanbic Uganda that are part of the Ugandan sector. And lastly, we also have Rwanda, which holds Bank of Kigali. So essentially, the ETF is allowed to hold between 15 to 25 stocks. There's always potential for new IPOs that take place on a yearly basis. There's always new companies that want to be listed. And obviously, if the company is good enough, we allow ourselves to add on to any of these 14 stocks, or the vice versa is also true. If we believe that the stocks are not as valuable as they seem to be, we may also remove them from this basket of securities. So these basket of securities are usually monitored on a daily basis by our research team, and we tend to have a quarterly rebalancing basis. The fund may also rebalance in the event of corporate actions. So, for example, we have Tanga Cement and we have Twiga Cement, who happen to have a common largest shareholder, which means if in the future they chose to say merge, which would be the corporate action in this case, that means that we would have one less stock in the in the portfolio. The other also may be true. If there's any corporate actions in terms of a company being bought out and being delisted from the stock exchange, that may also reduce the number of companies that we'll be holding. Market developments are also something that we monitor. On a continuous basis, there's always updates on the market. And if we feel that there may be a particular potential opportunity that we can take advantage of, that may be one of the reasons towards rebalancing. In terms of benchmark, we'll be tracking these benchmarks. We'll be tracking this ETF against the benchmark. The benchmark will have 38.99% of the TSI, 46.78% of Nairobi All Share Index, which is NASI, 11.34% of the Ugandan Local Share Index, and lastly, 2.89% of Rwanda Share Index. Now, this is essentially a beautiful equity, a beautiful ETF. It has a nice diversified structure. The first diversification element comes from its country allocations, which means out of those 14 stocks that you saw, there's 39.39% that is allocated to Tanzania. We have 46.8% allocated to Kenya. We have 11.3% allocated to Uganda, and we have 2.9% allocated to Rwanda. Imagine you're sitting at home and you want to invest, or you want to buy Safaricom, right? You would need to open a CDS account in Nairobi Stock Exchange, be able to move money from here all the way to Kenya, just so you can buy that stock. Now, think about it this way. If you just bought the ETF sitting at home through our portal, you have access to Safaricom, and not only Safaricom, but some of the largest and best performing stocks on the East African exchange. Wow, brilliant idea. Now, it's not only that you get diversified from country allocations, we also have a sector allocation diversification. As you saw, we were holding the likes of NMB, Equity Bank, KCB, which happen to be part of the banking sector. which allocates to 36.4%. We also had the likes of Safaricom and Vodacom, which would be part of the telco sector, which was holding 36%. We have the likes of TPCC and BAT from Kenya, which would make up of the 21% in the manufacturing sector. And lastly, we also have the likes of Jubilee Holdings, which gives you exposure to 5.9% of the insurance industry. Now, let's see what the benefits of diversification are, right? For those of you who know, and Faze also mentioned earlier, one of our mutual funds happened to be iGrowth Fund. Now, iGrowth Fund is a balanced fund. What a balanced fund means is it has a certain allocation towards equities that are listed on the stock exchange and a certain portion that will be allocated towards bonds. The bonds is a stabilizing effect, basically. Because share prices can fluctuate, iGrowth as a balanced fund can control that volatility through bonds. So essentially, iGrowth happens to be a low risk with a moderate return. Now, I'm just being modest because 37% is not a modest return. But what you could get with ETFs is because the entire allocation would be allocated towards high-performing stocks, which means that 37% could have probably been 70%. And the beauty about diversification also helps in terms of keeping the fund in a monitored way. Now think about it the other way. Imagine if you had all your exposure in something like CRDB or NMB, a single stock. That can be highly volatile, which means if that one stock that you're holding falls in price, it means that you've also lost your value. So essentially, an ETF is a beautiful low-risk product that happens to take advantage of the high returns and not have as much risk as a single stock. I would like to invite Marianne, who is our fund administrator, to take you through how to invest in the ETF.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So now I'll take you through the features of the ETF. As Azan has mentioned, it primarily invests in large cap equity stocks, and then the stocks are listed in East African Community Stock Exchanges. The minimum investment as of now is 100,000 TZS. IPO we opened in 17, will close on 12th of December. This will run for 4 weeks, meaning that right now, if you're able to invest, you only need as low as 100,000, which you'll get at a minimum offer price of 1,000 TZS. The dividend type is accumulating to mean that we will reinvest the dividends of this particular ETF. This is for the purposes of to improve the performance of the portfolio and hence increase the price of the NAV and also the market price. Once listed on BSE, the ticker symbol will be IEACLC ETF. So if you're able to invest on the stock market, this is how the ETF will identify itself. Then these are related parties. We have our regulator, as Felix mentioned, Capital Market Securities Authority. We have NBC Bank, who's our trustee custodian. We have Vertex Law Chamber, who's our legal advisor. And then we also have PwC, who's our auditor. So who is IEACLC best suited for? It's suited for investors who seek to invest in large cap equities. Of course, you're getting an opportunity to invest in these regional stocks that perform very well in one basket, and also suited for investors who want to invest in stock markets listed in East African Community, and also for investors who wish to diversify their investments in different industries and sectors. As we have mentioned before, this particular ETF will be investing in different sectors and different regions. So that is Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, and Rwanda. And also different sectors such as telecommunication, manufacturing, banking, and insurance. Then if it will be suitable for an investor who has high risk tolerance due to the volatility of stock prices. It is also convenient for an investor who would prefer a medium to long-term investment horizon. So while investing in this ETF, it is transparent. We'll be producing weekly disclosures, which is basically the asset allocation, which will show the weighting of each and every stock. that will be available on our website. We'll also be publishing our NAVs on a daily basis. If we'd like regional growth, because it will capture growth across major East African economies, diversified exposure, as we explained, you'll be able to invest in different sectors and different companies within different countries. Liquidity, as you'll be able now, once listed on Dar es Salaam Stock Exchange, you'll be able to buy and sell easily using the prevailing market price. And then it's also cost efficient. As Azan mentioned, you do not have to worry about looking for a custodian outside, opening a brokerage account, having to exchange your funds from, say, it is a desk to Ugandan shillings or Kenya shillings, looking for a broker and to buy the stock. So we are making it convenient for our investors to be able to enjoy all these securities in one basket. So this is our calendar. As we mentioned, we'll open for 4 weeks. That is 17th November to 12th December. The register, once it's approved on 2nd of January 2026, we will publish our results on the 5th of January. Then as of 13th of January 2026 is when it will be listed on the Dar es Salaam Stock Exchange. Now, post-IPO is when our investors will be able to trade on the market. The market price will be at a premium or at a discount of the net asset value, which again, we mentioned that it will be published on a daily basis. Units will trade as per the DSC rules at a minimum of 10 units, and also will publish together with the asset allocation that we provide, and also monthly fund fact sheets. Liquidity will be provided by the authorized participants, so investors can easily enter to buy and sell their units. So these are the FAQs of the ETF. So someone would ask, what is an exchange-traded fund? Which is basically a collective investment scheme whose units are traded on the stock exchange. And then what will the ETF invest in? So the ETF will primarily invest in large cap stocks listed in stock exchanges within East African community. How do I benefit from investing in the ETF? Investors can benefit from capital appreciation as the ETF's value increases over time. Where can I access the NAV of the ETF? The net asset value of the ETF will be published daily on iTrust official website. That is www.itrust.co.tz. How can I redeem my investment? Investors who wish to exit the fund can do so by selling the ETF units on the Dar es Salaam Stock Exchange through a licensed broker at prevailing market price. Also, on top of that, we are also brokers, as Faith mentioned, and we have a relatively cheaper price, which makes it convenient for investors to be able to trade with us. So how does the ETF manage risk? The ETF uses diversification, careful selection of investments, and other risk management techniques to mitigate the risk. How do existing iTrust clients participate? Existing clients can participate by filling out the IPO form available on the website, which we'll show you on the next slide. How can I participate and invest in the ETF? New investors can participate by registering through our website, that is www.itrust.co.tz, completing the form and submitting the required KYC. So here we have the 2 journeys for a new customer. They'll simply go to our website and fill in the onboarding form. Once that's done, our customer service team will complete the account for you. Once that's done, you'll receive a welcome aboard notification where you have to deposit the funds and share proof of payment to customer service at itrust.co.tz. After that, you'll receive a confirmation email from iTrust. Then for existing clients, you also go through our website, fill in the IPO form. Once that's done, you'll receive our bank details. And if you make the payment, you share it to customer service group email, then you'll receive a confirmatory email. Please note that this bank account is only available during the IPO period. That is from 17th November to 12th December. Once that's done, you'll be able now to use our normal brokerage bank account in the Dar es Salaam Stock Exchange. So now we'll take you through the portal process, which is very seamless. for our investors to be able to, either if you want to open an account or if you want to place your order to be able to invest in the IPO.
Thank you very much, Marianne. Now I'd like to welcome someone from the customer service team, Pauletta, to walk us through how exactly people can onboard for both new and existing clients. Welcome, Pauletta.
Hi, good day, the students from Pauletta, and I'll take you through the onboarding process. Okay, so basically, you have to go to the website directly and type in www.itrust.co.tz. Then once you click on the address. Excuse me. So you basically go direct to the website www.itrust.co.tz. Then on this corner of the website, you go to the login part and put your for the iTrust customers, we'll basically just log in as a normal customer, but for a new client, we'll have to sign up. And these are the processes which you go through. Well, during sign up, put in your you have to put in your information. Your mobile number will be needed, then an email address. Set your password, then confirm it. Then you have to tick on the accept terms and condition, then confirm, create an account. Once you create your account, you will get you get a congratulations that you've successfully created your account, and an email will be sent to you. So once you get an email, you have to you receive an email that's a link email to verify your email. So verify your email, you have to click to verify your email. Then after clicking verifying your email, it will ask for your email address and your password that you created previously. Once you're successfully logged in, you will have to, once you're successfully logged in, an OTP, it will ask for an OTP verification that will be sent directly to your email or mobile number. And the OTP is for security purposes. So you enter the OTP number and verify OTP. After you verify, this is how your account will be shown. So you'll have to click to complete the onboarding process. Once you click the onboarding process, you will need your NIDA. You'll need to verify via your NIDA number. So it's much more easier for you to have a NIDA number to onboard yourself easily. So put in your NIDA number, and once you've done that, once you put in your NIDA number, it will verify your fingerprints. There are two ways, either fingerprint verification or NIDA questions. Once you've done that, you'll be successful. NIDA verification completed, kindly proceed to complete the remaining part. After you're done completing the parts that are supposed to be the parts remained, then you click confirm. After you've confirmed onboarding yourself, your account will be under review. So you will have to wait for approval from the customer service team. Once approved, you receive a welcome note that your account is successful and welcome to iTrust, and all the information that you'll be given on the welcome note. After, once you receive your welcome notes, you get a customer number. At the same time, you will now be the iTrust customer. The iTrust customer. So you'll go back to the iTrust investment portal, as I showed before. Like, you go to our website and click www.co.tz. www.itrust.co.tz. Enter your email address, if you entered it before, then put in your password, then forget password. Once you forget password, it will treat you like a first-time customer. After you forget password, it will ask for an OTP number. As I say, it's for security purposes. Once you've entered your OTP, you log in back again. Eric has been doing this for years, so it's basically like our customer. So after you've logged in successfully, for whoever wishes to invest in the ETF, will go directly to invest now, as shown on the top, the orange part. You will invest, click on invest now. Then after you click on invest now, okay, if you would love to read more details about the ETF, you just go to view details. All the details are there, the minimum investment amount, the initial price, and the results announced, and the IPO period. All the information are there. About this investment, all the information you get through the portal. So go directly to the invest now. Once you've gone there, then enter amounts. Let's say 100,000. 100,000 shillings. Then submit your order. Once it has been submitted, proceed to pay. Then you'll be given the payment instructions that this is the amount you should pay and the account details. So there are various ways to pay, where you can use bank to bank or MNO, that is mobile money. On the bank to bank, on the description part, don't forget to put your customer number that is given to you on the welcome note, or you can easily get it from when you log into the portal. So after you make payments, you go to after you've made payments, click to got it thanks to upload your proof of payments. And this is how you do it. Go to pending proof payments. Click it. After you've clicked it, on the right side where it has been written proof of payment, upload proof of payment. Then write the amount. Oh, if you previously wrote 100,000 and you wish to you paid 500,000, it's okay. Just write 500,000 and you choose file to attach proof of payments. You can, I'll just click any. Then on the description part, you can put your customer number. Then submit. Once you've submitted, you receive a message that. What kind of messages do you get, Mariam? Sorry.
Your order has been.
Yeah, your order. You get a message that your order has been received, and yeah, you've successfully submitted your proof of payment. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pauletta. And again, in case anyone has any more questions, we will display the number shortly, and you'll be able to give us a call or send us an email or visit our offices here at Masaki. Karibuni sana. In the meantime, we have received a few questions from our listeners and viewers. So I'm going to go ahead and go through them. First question, will the ETF be cross-listed in capital market of ETF coverage countries?
So for now, we're only going to be listing on the Dar es Salaam Stock Exchange. It is something that we can look into, cross-listing on the Nairobi Stock Exchange or the Ugandan Stock Exchange. And we're open towards being as innovative as possible. But as things stand, we're just going to start off with the Dar es Salaam Stock Exchange first.
Thank you, Ozan. And now, just to let everyone know, this session is being recorded. That way, you will have access to this whole presentation and this whole discussion because it will be posted on our YouTube page. So we have received a number of requests for people asking for the link to the presentation. So don't worry about that. It will be available on our YouTube page. Now we have some more questions. One person asks, what is the advantage of buying stock at this window during the IPO?
To answer your question, investing during IPO is convenient for investors as you're able to invest at par, which is 1,000 shillings, and also at zero costs.
Thank you. We have another question. How do you determine which, they wrote ETF, but I'm guessing this is which stocks from the 4 countries to invest in? Do you invest in all or some of them?
So as far as the investment is concerned, as I shown earlier, there's a set allocation of the ETFs basket. And obviously it's open to rebalancing on a quarterly basis. So like I say, there's 12 to 25 stocks that can be included in the ETF. And upon rebalancing, they could change. But that is up to the investment committee of the ETF and the fund that would determine that that allocation, basically.
Okay, we have another one. What are the tax implications of investing in multiple countries?
So as far as tax implications are concerned, because this ETF is listed on the Dar es Salaam Stock Exchange, the tax implication that is directly impacted towards investors would be capital gains tax, which, because this is listed on the DSE, there is no capital gains tax that would be incurred by any of the investors. And additionally, because this is an accumulating fund, which means this ETF will not be paying out the dividends and instead will be reinvesting the dividends, which means you can also have tax advantages in terms of not having to pay withholding tax on any dividends as well.
Thank you, Ozan. Why are TBL and EABL not part of what is considered to be large cap ETF?
So TBL and EABL are considered large cap. However, we want this ETF to be as inclusive as possible. There may be certain investors that would not be open to investing in the ETF because of the nature of the stocks. And because we want it to be as inclusive as possible, and this being the first ETF, regional ETF, we want it available to everybody out there, essentially.
Thank you, Ozan. Why is this ETF priced at 1,000 T shillings, not below, like other ETFs already launched in Tanzania? What factors were considered in pricing?
So essentially, there are certain DSE rules that take place when you're trading an ETF. When a stock is priced at when a unit is priced at 100 shillings, the next minimum change that you can place, the next bid that you can place on the stock exchange would be 105, for example. That would be a 5% deviation from the last price. Now, the NAV may not move as much, So because of efficiency purposes, you want to be as close to the NAV as possible. On the other hand, if you look at the ETF being priced at 1,000, the next price that you could place would be 1,010, which happens to be 1% price movement. That helps you align towards the net asset value, and it helps being efficient in terms of price determination on the stock exchange. The other thing you need to consider is because this has a lot of stocks that are priced over 1,000 shillings, the likes of NMB sitting at 8,000. We have the likes of TCC that is at 9,900 now. So there's a lot of stocks that are priced over 1,000 shillings. So 1,000 seems like a fair price in terms of if you take the averages over the prices of the stocks that are being held.
Thank you, Azan. We have a few questions. I believe Marianne addressed the dividend and the reinvestment, but just as a reminder, what is your expected dividend policy and when should we expect to get dividend instead of reinvesting it? The reinvestment will be done for how long? Is there a chance in future one will be eligible to cash dividend?
So essentially, like I said, in terms of tax benefit, if the ETF were to pay the dividend, you would be liable to have a 5% withholding tax. So essentially, if you're reinvesting it, you don't have to realize that 5% withholding tax. So in terms of tax advantages, you're better off taking that gains and selling it on the Dar es Salaam Stock Exchange for you to recognize that interest or that price appreciation that you have experienced, which would give you a tax advantage as well.
Thank you. We have well wishers here. What if the ETF is oversubscribed, which we hope it will be? What happens then? I assume you ask for approval. Just in case you don't get it, what happens next? Is it first come, first served basis?
So essentially, we are trying to collect as much as we can. 10 billion is not the cap. And like you said, rightly so, we will apply for an oversubscription. And based on past experience, I'm certainly confident that we will get that approval. I can also ask Professor to highlight or shed some color on this aspect.
Thank you very much, Azan. Thank you, Azan. I think that's obvious. Being a fund, this is going to be our 7th fund, even though it's the first ETF. And all the other 6 funds were oversubscribed, and we made the right application to the capital markets and security authorities, and we are able to obtain permission to basically accommodate the oversubscription. Now, funds are very liable to have this process, and it's nothing unusual, and we are quite confident that that will not be a problem. Now, in the exceptional case, usually what happens is an allotment process. Allotment is basically pari passu, each person getting equivalent wage to what they have applied for. That's usually happens when something is limited. For example, IPOs of stocks can be limited, but an IPO of an ETF is open-ended. We can create units for investments irrespective of size. So it can be 10 billion, 20 billion, 30 billion, 50 billion, and it will not be a problem. As long as, of course, we get the regulator's approval.
Thank you, Prof. We have another question. Is this ETF open to minors? If yes, what are the procedures for minors to invest in this ETF?
To answer your question, yes, the ETF is open to minors. You will easily go to our website. The link is provided here on this slide. When you click on iTrust client, there's an option for either iTrust client or new customer. So you click on new customer. There's multiple options. You have individual application, you have joint application, you have minor application and a corporate application. So click on minor application, provide the details and the necessary KYC. Then you can be able to participate in IPO.
Thank you, Marianne. So just to summarize, we have individuals, we have minors, We have company and we have joint accounts that can subscribe to this ETF.
Also,
Yes?
for alignment to have an account with us, the parent needs to hold an account with us as well,
Okay.
so that we can link the details of the minor there.
Thank you, Pauletta, for clarifying that. We have a few questions with regards to if the ETF will be listed on the DSE, why is there a deadline for investing during the launch? Once it is listed, will investors still be able to buy units directly through the DSE?
So to answer your question
Yes.
right now, sorry, Prof, you want to get in?
No, Mariana, sorry, I just wanted to point out that because this is an IPO, IPOs usually have an opening date and a closing date. That's why there is this date, but that doesn't mean that it's the only way to invest. Post IPO, once it's listed, shares can be purchased on the Dar es Salaam the ETF can be purchased on the Dar es Salaam Stock Exchange once it's listed. Sorry, Marianne, please continue.
Yeah, Prof, you've answered it correctly.
I think you said
Yep.
everything, Prof.
Yeah, at least I didn't make a mistake and embarrass myself, right?
Thank you, Prof. So we have a few questions as to why this IPO is not on the DSE mobile app on the IPO page. I would like to welcome Faith to just address that.
So due to some technical issues that we are facing, mind you, we are going obviously digital with everything that we want to do. We are trying to merge with the DSE app as well. So soon this is going to be live on the DSE.
Thank you, Faith. Is there any fees, trading costs, or any other fees associated with this ETF?
So during IPO, there's no fees incurred by the investors, but once it's listed and an investor wants to buy additional units or sell their units, they'll incur the normal brokerage and regulatory costs.
Thank you. First of all, thank you. I see that we have some non-Tanzanians on this call. So one of them asked, how can a Kenyan citizen, and I'm guessing any other citizen apart from a Tanzanian, participate in this IPO?
So essentially, it's a similar process. Feel free to visit our website. You can register as an iTrust client using your passport, and we would be able to open a DSE CDS for you, and you can invest like any other investor on during the IPO period.
Thank you. What is the maximum number of people allowed?
So the bank details needs to be a Tanzanian bank detail, bank details, bank account.
Thank you for that. So Pauletta just confirmed that even if you're a non-Tanzanian, your bank details must be for a bank registered here in Tanzania, correct? Yeah, thank you. All right, so we have another question. What is the maximum number of people allowed on a joint account? Just as the name says, joint account is just for two people for now. We'll see how, as we progress, how we can expand that. But for right now, it is just two people that are allowed. And then can I buy the ETF multiple times before the deadline day?
Yes, you can invest, you can subscribe multiple times during this IPO. If you'd like, every day, we're open to receive the funds. And then the deadline will be 12th November as stated. So yes, you can be able to subscribe multiple times.
Just to be sure, they need to provide the proof of payment, like
Whenever they make transactions. Okay, thank you.
customer service.
Customer service are very important during this transaction, so please do not forget to send the proof of payment to them in case you do not attach it through the portal. We have, how do we withdraw and how much are the charges?
Okay, so to answer your question, you can be able to sell your units. This is now in the Dar es Salaam Stock Exchange. We have our brokerage charges, which is only 0.8%, and the normal regulatory fees. Okay.
Actually, to add to that, what it means is that the ETF does not require you to redeem from the fund manager. You're actually trading it on the stock exchange. So you trade it like any other instrument where you can buy more, sell more intraday as many times as you want through your own regular brokerage account and settle through the Dar es Salaam Stock Exchange. So that is just a normal process of trading, just like you will trade any other share or bond on the DSC.
So we have regional large cap stocks, likes of Safaricom, are relatively overvalued at the moment compared to 6 months ago. Is it the right time to go in now?
I think this is a relative question. We don't say it's overvalued. Let's say it's appreciated from, let's say, a year ago or 6 months ago. That doesn't mean that they are overvalued, because those are two different things. Generally speaking, we had a call today of Safaricom with the Safaricom management for our clients. And Safaricom's performance had been phenomenal. The management reported their half-year results. Profit before tax was up 63% year on year. The earnings per share were up 52% year on year. With those kind of results, I think using a word like overvalued is relative. In the financial markets, every investor has to make their decision. As fund managers in this particular ETF, we need to weigh to all the large caps, at least the ones which we thought were eligible. And Safaricom is the largest weight, and we believe it deserves it so. But just in case that it's for whatever reason it's not doing well, it's still not 100% of the weight. It's very diversified. It's capped. It's at 22% on average weight, and that means the rest of the 78% is invested in other equities in Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, and Rwanda. So whatever the case may be, the ETF is extremely well structured, as Azan mentioned in the presentation, and investors should know that as different components of the ETF appreciate, their weights increase, and if their weights go over the upper limit, as a fund managers, we trim that to protect investors against price drops. So there is mechanisms for risk mitigation that Azan mentioned in the presentation, and we exercise those. We also carry out continuous valuations and rebalancing on quarterly basis. We have a group of analysts, some of them you see here, in our fund team, in our other analyst teams, in our trading teams, who actually look after the ETF and the ETF fund. So we do pay attention to the valuation of the constituent stocks, and we do from time to time rebalance their weights accordingly.
Thank you, Prof. Maybe, Prof, before I let you go, what is your take on what we are seeing in our market, where we have an ETF trading at prices that are not exactly reflecting the NAV? Is this typical of how ETFs function? And as such, should we expect the same?
I think generally we cannot comment on other managers' ETFs. That's the job for our regulators. We do have regulators who set the rules. And what I can say clearly is that the Dar es Salaam Stock Exchange has a circular out, which mentions the trading bans for ETFs, and that is out from the Dar es Salaam Stock Exchange. So I think that is the regulators are already on that case, and I think it's not for us to comment on that. What we can say is for our own ETF, which we understand very well, which we are launching to our customers, which we are responsible for, we are going to have authorized participants and market making, which is going to supply units and also be able to purchase units to maintain liquidity and at the same time support market price discovery within the certain allowable as per the circular of the Dar es Salaam Stock Exchange, within allowable ranges. So that is going to be something we are going to adhere to. We are always compliant to the DSC rules, and the DSC already has a circular that is going to be coming into effect on that area.
Thank you, Prof. Last question to the team before we wrap up. Can this type of investment be used as guarantee if someone wants to take loan from the bank?
Yes, because these these units will be listed on the Dar es Salaam Stock Exchange, which means they will be held under the registry, which is CSDR. So any bank would be happy to take them as collateral, and provide you a loan on it.
And just to add to that, this again goes down to the financial institution or a bank, depending on their policy, what do they deem to be good. There might be a haircut on this, so please be aware about that. Yeah.
Thank you very much. And now,
There is one question on the currency effects. So maybe I can just say something about it.
Yes, please.
As everybody is aware that this is a cross-country East African ETF, it means that it has some component of assets in Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania and Rwanda. So as these currencies move against each other, they're all being priced back into Tanzanian shilling. As listed, the ETF is listed on the DSE in shillings. So in cases where the Tanzanian shilling appreciates against all other East African currencies or depreciates against all East African countries, there is going to be currency effects. But generally speaking, we have found the East African currencies do move together. So we haven't seen really big dislocations between these currencies. And the ones that are most active and generally tend to have the biggest movements against each other periodically, although they align after a time, is Tanzanian shilling against Kenyan shilling. So overall, those are balanced against each other. So there will be times where maybe Tanzanian shilling is appreciating, times where Kenya shilling. But over time, we expect that these currencies are going to be balanced against each other and the currency effects are going to cancel each other out.
Thank you so much, Prof. Before we wind up the session, I would just like to remind everyone that this session was the English session. So if you'd like to also stay for the Kiswahili session, we will start it shortly. And so we can be able to answer some of your other questions that we did not address. And also this has been recorded, so it will be available on YouTube if you'd like further reference. To close the session off, I'd like to welcome our CEO once again, Mr. Faiz Arab.
Thank you, Vinny. Just before I give my closing remarks, there's one last question here from someone called Asma regarding investing under the Islamic principle. Yes, I think we do have a couple of products. Obviously, one of them is our Iman Fund. It does invest Islamically, so it does into fixed incomes of the sukuks that are in the market and Sharia compliant equities in the market. So yeah, I mean, do reach out to us. We will definitely assist you on that. Once again, thank you everyone who joined on this call. Thank you so much for being here, taking your time. I know there are some unanswered questions, but definitely we would love to take them up. Our contact details are here. Visit our offices, call us, but there's a lot of content out there on our social media as well. We will be sharing out some more videos in terms of how you can onboard yourself. It is a very seamless process. Please do reach out to us. We'll be happy to help you guys. But again, because of the time limit, we will have to close this for now. And definitely we do have a Kiswahili session right after this call. So please do log on to that. Yeah. Thank you so much once again.